struggling to come to grips with reality. Confusion and chaos have become part of me. I seek answers to know where my liberation lies. Only in peace and calmness does that clarity arise. Transmissions of wisdom bring me insights of reason. Let my mind expand to the higher states. My mortality is no longer at stake. Let me hear the wisdom transmissions. The wisdom transmissions. So many voices, so many interpretations. No answers given, only outer temptations. Where can I find that truth inside of me? Realization of what I am is all I'm wanting to see. Transmissions of wisdom bring me insights of reason. Let my mind expand to the higher states. My mortality is no longer at stake. Let me hear the wisdom transmissions. The wisdom transmissions. No more redirection, ending the contemplation. Forget fighting reflection. Outer world's a projection. Internal is the cause, external's an effect. Put it on pause. I'm silencing the noise, centering, entering void. Truth is beautifully subtle, the voice without a voice. Heart and mind shall settle, making decisions now, escaping illusions of choice. Transmissions of wisdom bring me insights of reason. Let my mind expand to the higher states. My mortality is no longer at stake. Let me hear the wisdom transmission. The wisdom transmissions.
And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of Wisdom Transmissions Live. Just take a moment here. I've got to close up my blinds here. There we go. Got to have privacy. So again, welcome to the next episode of Wisdom Transmissions Live. Today I'm going to be bringing in Adronis. He's going to be sharing a transmission with everybody today. And then we'll be getting into viewer topics. So they are just semi-personal and general in nature. So I'm not doing any personal readings today. That's just once a month when I have Brianne with me on the air. So again, if you do have personal questions, this is where I recommend you work with the private sessions that are available right now, because we do have discounts available, which I'm going to get into here in just a moment. But again, just general or semi-personal questions after the Adronis transmission comes in today. So, speaking of announcements, let's go ahead and start. So again, here is wisdomtransmissions.com. Of course, you heard that awesome song, right? So Wisdom Transmissions has a discount available right now. So if you utilize the two codes, the first code is LIVE20, that's capital LIVE 20. You will get 20% discounts off of live sessions. So by live sessions, I'm referring to the private live sessions here. So again, I have these private live sessions that are 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and 60 minutes available, either with myself, with Adronis. We can look into your Akashic records, we can look into healing requests, we can look into all different types of things through live interaction. Okay, then of course I have my offline sessions, such as the 3 questions by email, the full body scan, the Akashic record sessions, and the energy cord attunements. And those are also available at 20% off, and the discount code for that is Wisdom20. So that's capital WISDOM 20, Wisdom 20. You'll find it on the scrolling marquee when I get back to my video, but Wisdom 20 is the discount code for that, and again you can get 20% off. Now these discounts only last up until Friday this week, at the end of day Friday, so make sure you take advantage of them. We only have a 48-hour discount availability for the 2 discount codes on wisdomtransmissions.com. As it says here below, discount codes, they are valid until the end of day March 7th. Okay, so again, those codes are LIVE20, LIV20, and Wisdom20 as well. Okay, moving on. We have Etherics having a 50% off discount right now, but this is only good until the end of day today. So once I'm finished, or once this day is finished, then the 50% will be going back down to 40%. So again, we have a 50% discount on right now on Etherics, so go ahead and check that out, 50% off. There's also going to be some new products and new services that are going to be available on Etherics starting tomorrow. So I'm going to be making a newsletter about that. It's going to be really exciting. Remember that we also have an affiliate program here on Etherics where you can actually make money referring people to us. So again, you can see, you can find the affiliate sign-up form there, and just tell people about Etherics. Now, Etherics is going to be changing into a brand new shop when we get into the starting of May. I was originally thinking of doing it in April, but it's going to be in May, and it's going to be referred to as the Facet Metaphysical Emporium. It's going to have Etherics products as well as other affiliate products that are going to be available as well too. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm currently building the new website for it, and it's going to be launching effective May 1st, so you can check that out. And we have a brand new project that is available now. It's called predictmyastrology.com. Okay, so predictmyastrology.com is now available, which means there is a professional AI generated Vedic astrology reports in over 60 different languages. Now I'm actually utilizing several different AI systems to generate a very accurate report. I've tested it. I've tested it on both myself, I've tested it on Brienne as well too, I've tested it on other people I know, and it is amazingly accurate, amazingly detailed. It's in 60 different languages. No other website that utilizes astrology offers you that. And you have these generated reports done in less than 24 hours, and they're very detailed as well too. So they go into your chart, they look into certain alignments. We can look into love and relationships, we can look into health, we can look into wealth, we can look into career, we can look into finance, we can look into karma, we can look into the alignment of your planets, we can look into your annual 2025 report. You can even get a full deluxe report, and that full deluxe report right now is available, but it's only available until the end of today. Okay, so it expires before midnight. It is a 30% discount off of our full deluxe report, so only $69. Usually $99, but today it is $69, so go ahead and check that out. And again, the website is predictmyastrology.com. So it's all Vedic astrology. Okay, why Vedic astrology? Because Vedic astrology is the most accurate out of all astrologies. Okay, it's proven, scientifically proven, that it's actually a lot better because it actually works with the elliptical path rather than the idea of solstices and equinoxes, which is not very accurate. And then finally, we go to readingswithbrienne.com. So of course, this is Brienne's brand new website. This is where she's made the website. She's worked the last few days on it. She's done a really great job. It looks beautiful. She's, again, doing tarot readings. If this is your first session, you can get 10% off with Welcome 10. So she's doing tarot readings. She's doing crystal ball readings as well too. She's extremely, extremely, extremely accurate, right? So check her out, readingswithbrienne.com, tarot readings, crystal ball readings, crystal grids, feng shui. She does a lot. So again, check that out, readingswithbrienne.com. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and come back now to getting Adronis in here for a transmission. So Adronis is going to do his discussion. Afterwards, we'll be going to the people for any questions that you have. Okay. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Someone's saying that my microphone is low. Can you guys hear me all right? Let me double check and make sure my volume's okay. It looks like everything's fine on my end here, but I'll double check and just see. I'll try and boost up the microphone a bit. Okay, can everybody hear me okay? Because it's definitely in the yellow right now, so you should be able to hear me okay. Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me okay, if my volume is fine. Okay, please raise your volume, people. Try to use headphones if you can. Okay, I'm jacking it up, but I don't want it to be like creating feedback or something like that. So I just want to be careful with that. Okay, so like I said, it's showing me right now that it's in the yellow. So I'm hoping that's better. It's better than it was. Okay, great. Sounds good. Technology, what can I say? And my Mercury retrograde is coming up. So like I said, don't be surprised if there's some malfunctions in the junctions. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and bring Adronis in. Maybe I'm just going to bring the microphone a bit closer to me. That might help. Okay. I usually do the microphone here on the camera, but it's not that great of quality. This one has much better quality to it. So that's why I decided to bring it back out. Okay, so sounds great. Okay, excellent. So I will go ahead now and bring Adronis in, and I don't know what he's going to be discussing. We're going to leave that to him and enjoy the session, and we'll get right to your questions. Like I said, when you do have questions, please make sure it's semi-personal or general in nature. Okay, here we go with Adronis. Enjoy. I should take a glass of water first. Okay. Terra Soul Star Adronis. We are here. At this time, we bid you greetings, and we thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this broadcast through your internet collective consciousness. What we would like all of you to do at this time is simply allow yourselves to get relaxed, get comfortable, and tune in to the vibrations of Sirius, so that you may synchronize, harmonize, and align to all of the information that we have to share. Also understand that all of the information that we shall provide today is simply that of our perspective, our point of view. For all knowledge, all information, all creation itself resides within your very hearts, beings, and souls. Normally, we will come on and we will talk to you a lot about the affairs of your world. We're not going to do that today. We have something very special for quite a few of you. And this is the announcement that we want to share. We are going to begin broadening our reach with many of you, which means we are opening up our vibrational band a great deal further so that we can talk to each of you more personally and that is our transmission for today. Is we are going to give you a very, very simple exercise that will enable you to connect with us. Now, of course, this does require you getting yourself calm, getting yourself relaxed, getting yourself centered. This does involve you going within and connecting together with our band. Now, we're making our band very, very simple for you to access. It simply is based upon stating the name that you are familiar with pertaining to us. That is Adronis. Adronis. And as you go within and you connect with us, we are going to have a specific message for you. So we are broadening our band, broadening our transmission for many of you. And that there will be those of you who will be able to connect, and there will be those of you who may not be able to because further calibration is required. But if you are persistent with it, we do have a message for each of you. We will call this message a type of gift. It is a gift that we want to give each of you. For those of you who are willing to do the following exercise that we are going to share with you, to connect directly with you, this particular message, this particular interaction that we will have with you will be a gift. Now, it may not just be with us. We may have someone to introduce you to. We may have others who we wish to introduce you to. We may also have a particular form of guidance that will enable you to perform a task, and that when that task is completed, a gift will be shown. So this is not about the idea of us sharing current affairs upon your planet, because with all due respect, it's all the same. It's all the same pertaining to those affairs. It all comes down into the simple resolution of going within, taking care of yourself, working on yourself, healing your wounds, living the greatest life within yourself. It's really what it all comes down to. So like we said, that's not what we're going to do with you today. We want to give you this particular opportunity through the exercise that we are now going to share right now. So get yourselves relaxed. Be seated in a chair if you wish, or be seated on the floor cross-legged if you wish. And we're just going to start off with some breathing. The Rachaka Pranayama breath, as you may be aware of already, for those of you who have tuned into us before, where you're breathing in through the nose for 4 seconds, and you're breathing out through the nose for 8 seconds. Let's do this now together. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Relax. And we want you just to continue to making your exhaled breath a little longer than your inhale. This is the key to meditation, is that you should always have a longer exhale than an inhale. If you can do that, you're going into vagus nerve stimulation. You're stimulating the parasympathetic. You're making your organs calm and relaxed. Your eyes start to dilate. The saliva in your mouth starts to increase. And these are simple signs that you are moving deeper and deeper into the parasympathetic, which means you're making yourself more receptive to the right hemisphere of the brain, which is what's required for you to even connect with us. So this is a requirement, is get yourself calm, get yourself relaxed. If you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling tense, do that form of longer exhaling breath for a longer period of time until you start to feel relaxed, until your eyes are dilated, until the saliva in your mouth increases, and you can feel a calmness and a relaxation wave flowing through you. Once you have done that, we want you just to state the simple mantra of our name. Adronis. 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 And just repeating that mantra at least 3 times, and then just tuning in. For some of you, you will receive us. Some of others will not. Simply because you have to calibrate more. If you are not a common meditator, it is very unlikely you'll be able to tune into us at all. But if this is something that's very natural to you, you're the one whom we're going to be communicating with directly. As we have stated, this is all that you have to do. Follow your breath work, follow the mantra, affirmation, and tune in. We will do the rest for those of you who are receptive to our band. When we come through, you will feel a presence within yourself. Very similar to how Brad is feeling our presence right now. It is a soft, gentle presence, but at the same time, it's like a light that is shining at you that is not a light at all. It's that feeling of a light shining upon you. And when that happens, we ask you just to give us your undivided attention and simply listen, because we will have something for you. And that very thing that we have will be varying upon the person that we talk to. It's not the same gift. It's not the same transmission for everyone. It's something specifically for you, for those who are able to tune into our domain, to tune into our vibrational band. As we stated, it can be a message that can be about a gift, that can be about an important message that will help in your growth, or again, introducing another or a group directly to you. It is a message that we are happy to share to each of you subjectively. This is a subjective greeting. This is a subjective tiding. This is a subjective transmission. It's not objective. So that is what we want to share with each of you today, is to tune into our band, because a message awaits those of you who can. All right? We thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction, and we will now begin with your question and answer period. Thank you very much. That's exciting. You guys are going to be getting a gift. So, excellent. I think that's the thing, is that Adronis knows I'm probably going to be handling a lot of the questions, so he wants to give you a gift. And like I said, it is kind of the same thing, right? When we're looking at world affairs, I'm happy to do this for you guys because, like I said, it's more for your sake than mine. I'm not concerned about where the world is going. I already know it's going to move into something very, very prosperous, very enjoyable. So in time, right? But let's take a look and see what others are sharing today as we go to the chat. So like I said, if you guys do have a donation-based question, you can leave the donation in the chat, and that will put you in priority sequence. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start off. We do have one donation-based question here already. This one here is from Open Contact, and like I said, I can't share the text from the viewer, so I'm just going to read it out loud. I'm not on StreamYard, I'm on OBS Studio. Okay, so this one here is from Open Contact. He says, "Hi Brad and Adronis. Generally speaking, what is the estimated time frame where we can get to the point of experiencing heaven on earth, so to speak?" Well, I'm just going to, I have a piece of paper here with me, and I'll start looking into the Akasha with you. I could basically already answer your question off the bat, but let's take a look at what the Akasha has to share here. Okay, one moment. So here's the dual answer for you. For yourself right now, okay? If we're looking into the nature of heaven on earth, if we're looking at a completely different code, because it depends on what you mean by your nature of heaven on earth, right? Everybody has their own perception of that. If you're thinking that there's peace on earth and where everybody gets along with each other and the world is a lot more aware of themselves, the people on the planet in the majority are tuning into themselves a great deal more. There's no more need for money. You know, everybody starts returning back to nature. Everybody realizes their divine connection within themselves. A few thousand years. Okay? That's really what we're looking at. This is why I say it's not important for you to try to say, I need to wait until the outer world grows up and matures itself so that then I can grow up and mature myself. It doesn't work that way because you will be waiting several thousands of years. Okay? And I'm talking about the majority. If we have 8 billion people here on the planet, and I know about 20 to 25% of those are incognito ETs, as I talked about in last week's Akashic Intelligence Report. And by the way, our next Akashic Intelligence Report is this Friday as well, too. And I'm listening to some of your comments, so it's going to be another exciting episode of that. But basically, for yourself, you have the ability to have heaven on earth right now, because heaven on earth is not the outside. My friends, this is what's been shared through so many ancient texts, going back thousands of years, not just through the Bible, but through many other ancient texts that come out of China, that come out of India, that come out of the Far East, right? We know this. I mean, if you guys have been reading the Bible, if you just look at what Jesus says, the kingdom of heaven is within you, okay? The nature of heaven on earth, heaven itself is a state of being, okay? It's not a place. It's not something that you need to go to. It's not somewhere where you need to venture to. You're still looking at it from an on-side context. But if we're looking at the majority of the collective, where they have tuned into their own inner divine heaven, that's going to take many thousands of years because people just aren't there, right? They rely so much on the external world. Look how much difficulty so many of you have with that, right? No matter how much I teach this for going on 17 years now, there's still so many people that rely so much on the external world, even though they claim to be spiritual people. Hardly anybody does this, right? So your own inner divine heaven is within you right now. It's available to you right now. You are able to connect with it. You are able to go within. You are able to live through it because it's a state of being, right? The nature of heaven is the peace within yourself. It transcends the thought plane. It transcends the material plane. It's you in beingness, right? It is you as one with the divine. It is you in divine union. That's heaven, okay? It's not the outside. There is no outside transformation that is taking place that's going to say, oh my goodness, this world is heaven, because heaven doesn't exist on the outside. It never has. It never will. Right? And again, like I said, it's like reading the Bible with all these people saying, okay, you keep saying that the kingdom of heaven is at hand, but when is it coming? Where can we see it? Right? And Jesus would always say, if you try to look low here and low there for it, you will never find it, because it's not an outside phenomena. If it was an outside phenomena, my friends, do you think I'd be spending the last near 17 years of my life constantly telling you that it's inward? If this had any particular opportunity for it to be an outside thing, for the nature of peace on earth, for the nature of the inner divine truth to touch every single human being, that it resided outside, do you think I'd be spending 17 years of my life telling you guys that it's an inner nature? Right? And it's not just me. If we're looking at all of these great masters, we're looking at Jesus, we're looking at Buddha, we're looking at Krishna, we're looking at Zoroaster, we're looking at all of these great masters. If there was even the slightest morsel of possibility that something like that could be on the outside, don't you think they would have told you? Because none of them do. Right? Even when we look at our great masters, even going back about a century or so, right? We look at Ramana Maharshi. We look at who else? Yogananda, right? We look at Anandamayi Ma. We look at all of these other great masters who just devoted themselves deeply to the inner divine nature of themselves. Not a single one of them ever told anybody that this is outer. You see, that's what you have to get out of your mind. Thinking that something's going to happen, there's going to be a whole bunch of collective events that are going to take place, and everything will just go away, and there won't be anything bad happening outwards anymore. It doesn't work like that, right? There are going to be significant changes to the world. There's going to be some significant transformations taking place, yes, that are going to make things a little bit more smoother. But it's not about thinking that I have to live in the outside world and it has to follow the beat and the rhythm of my own drum. And that's why we get so confused, right? This is not an outer thing. Yes, there will be some shifts happening outward. Yes, there's going to be some ripple effects that we're going to feel. But that's not your peace. Because if I want peace outside, that is me trying to superglue my face on the surface of the earth. And everybody has to follow the marching and the beating and the rhythm of my own drum. And that's slavery. That's no more different than what a lot of these cabals have been trying to do to billions of people for hundreds, even thousands of years. Do you want to follow that rhythm? No. The kingdom of heaven right now is within you. It always has been. It always will be. I go there. I don't rely on the outside to go there. I just go within. And that's it, right? So we got to get out of this mentality of believing that something outside is going to happen that's going to catapult the collective consciousness where everybody is just going to be nice and loving to each other, because that's a bunch of hooey. Unfortunately, my friends, that is a pipe dream, and that's not how it works. If it were so simple to do that, a lot of the great masters going back thousands of years would have done it. Can't be done, right? We have to realize that as we go through life, everything outside here, everything that represents the external world, is a ripple effect. This is the effect. This is the plane effect. This is like being in the movie theater and you're watching everything on the screen, right? As soon as you're watching something on the screen, that's the outer world, right? We need to go into the projector. We need to see exactly what's being projected. What is being projected is the inner world, and that is the world of cause. So, cause, effect. Cause, effect. That's how it works. And so many people are transfixed on trying to fix the effect. Why are you doing that? It is no more different than you taking a dry erase marker, running up to the silver screen that's playing a movie, and you start drawing on the screen. And what happens? You got a bunch of people yelling, "Hey, will you get out of the way? I'm trying to watch the movie." They're throwing popcorn at you, and they're throwing their soda drinks at you. Get out of the way. Get off the stage. What are you doing, you idiot? Why are you drawing a smiley face on the screen? Get the hell off there. And they keep throwing popcorn at you, and then the usher's like dragging you away. No, I want to see something different, right? And you're trying to draw on the screen. It doesn't work. You have to go within. You have to go inside the projector. You have to see for yourself what you are doing, because your reality will always be subjective. Subjectivity meets reality. Your subjectivity is the beam. That's the projection that is casting on the screen. You have to fix it. You have to change it. You have to make it humble. You have to make it balanced. You have to bring it to center. That's your job. So that's the answer to your question, George. Okay? sorry, not George, the other person. George has another question. To open contact, sorry. Open contact, that's the answer to your question, okay? There is no time frame other than maybe waiting many thousands of years, but that's going to go beyond your physical life, okay? Right now, subjectively, because that's the truth about the idea of experiencing heaven on earth. You are the heaven and you are the earth. It is all internal. Please don't try to wait and sit on your hands thinking that thousands and thousands of years need to pass by and I'll just sit in the abode of spirit and I'll just wait for humans to get things together down there. Then I can go down there and say, hey, there's peace on earth and I don't have to worry anymore. Okay? No, that just becomes silly. So please remember the importance of knowing the kingdom of heaven is within you. That's the key. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, open contact. And it's a good question as well, too, because I get that question all the time. All right, thank you so much. Let's go to George. George here has a question, a donation question. Thank you for your donation, George. George says, Adronis and Brad, what can we do to be grounded with the turmoil coming as the controllers of Earth struggle to maintain their power over the narrative perpetrated over humanity begins to crumble? You see, that's your problem right there. As long as your thought is telling you that there's a problem, you will never be at peace. And George, you're a student of mine. You know this because I've told you this, right? But this is for everybody else because it is important for everybody else to know. As long as you see struggle, as long as you see suffering, as long as you see chaos, as long as you see cataclysm, as long as you see that all is not right with the world, as long as you see that everybody's frantic and that everybody's crazy and that everybody's just completely lost their mind and that there's never going to be any peace here on the planet, you will join that. Because that's your thoughts. Those are your thoughts right there. Your thoughts are constantly telling me there's turmoil, there's struggle, right? They're trying to maintain their power. They. And as long as you keep diving into that, you are going to fall into that trap, right? That's what so many people refer to in actuality as a soul trap. The soul trap is you staying in the alignment of despair. The soul trap is you staying in this cataclysm of chaos, of struggle, of suffering, because that's all you're willing to see in the world, rather than going within and starting to work on yourself and moving beyond the thought plane and coming into your harmony and realizing I don't care about the direction of the world. I'm letting the world be the world. When people come to me, I'm happy to share this. I'm going to bring love and compassion. Did you guys watch one of the newest videos that I did? Right? With the shadow self, right? That little cartoon based on the Adept Chronicles, where Anadria is there and she's talking to this girl about all the suffering that she's going through and how compassion is the answer to shadow law. Guys, that's the answer right there. Okay? You can either let everybody's shadow define you and stay in misery and suffering, or you can shift and you can start bringing in the compassion and the love that you naturally hold and brighten up the world because you've brightened yourself up. As long as you stay within this trance-hypnotic program that we call the thought world, you're a victim of it. You're going to continue to... I'm sorry, my friends, I'm sorry. But as long as you stay in this world, you're not going to make it better. It doesn't need your help. It's a program. That program, in some shape, in some way, in some form, is always going to exist, even if it's beyond this world, in other dimensions, in other realities, right? All of those things are going to continue to be because the light and the dark are the same, right? When we look at the nature of darkness, darkness is the raw knowledge. It is the knowledge that is untapped. It is the knowledge that is untested. It is the knowledge that is unrefined. So therefore you have unrefined knowledge representing the dark, and you have refined knowledge which represents the light. But they're all knowledge. It's all knowledge. It's all one spectrum, right? We need to get out of this mentality of thinking that there's somebody that needs to come along to fix the planet. Impossible. It can't be done. That is through the nature of the collective consciousness. The collective consciousness works through that. It is a stream. It is not about one person. And even if it was about one person, that one person has all the power of the people behind them. And there really is no such person, because there's always going to be divisions, right? And it's not about trying to fix this world. This world doesn't need to be fixed. There's nothing wrong with her. There's nothing wrong with life. Life doesn't need to be fixed. Do you know what needs to be fixed? Ignorance. Ignorance needs to be fixed. And that is the ignorance that we each have within ourselves. Until we get out of this thought dimension and feeling that, everything about this daily life that I live needs to be changed, needs to be fixed, needs to be patched up. No, because that's just you with senseless control mentality, with senseless control tendencies, fueled by ignorance, thinking you have to transform everything on this planet. That's not the key. And like I said, I'm not sharing things here that are popular. I'm just telling you guys the truth, right? So I'm not being Mr. Popular on YouTube here and saying, oh, Brad's saying all this stuff and keeps talking about going within all the time. Why can't he just say that, something's going to happen and the whole world's going to change? Because it's not, right? It changes because the collective changes. It changes because the majority of us change. And the earth is a living mirror, and the universe is a living mirror. And it will continue to bring about those reflections on how we as a race, as a civilization, prosper. I am telling you the truth. And unfortunately, the truth is not a popular thing. You know what? The funny thing is most people hate the truth. And I know a lot of people are on the internet telling you different things. Oh yeah, Trump's going to make everything all better and everything's going to be crystal clear and peaches and cream once he's done. No, there's going to be some things that will smooth out, but we're still going to have challenges on this planet. We're still going to learn how to get along with each other. We're still learning how to work with nature. We're still learning how to work together with the earth so we're not poisoning her. We're trying to do a lot of these things together, right? And that's the whole idea, is know exactly who and what you are in here and radiate it out and bring that love and compassion to everybody else. So George and everybody else, I know there's a lot of people that ask that question about what can we do to be grounded with the turmoil. Well, again, like I said, as long as you feel that there's turmoil and there's suffering and there's misery, you can't be grounded because that's going to stay in your mind. And believe me, I have those days too where there's intensity and then I just breathe it out and let it go. I do trauma transcendence technique. I do white light breath. I just work with the breath and I let those things go because it happens. It falls upon all of us, right? But then you move out of that and you just have this love and this bliss within your heart, right? And that's the key. Really, if so many people talk about the nature of the Antichrist. Brad, what's the Antichrist? Everything that goes against the grain of what the Christ consciousness is, right? So anything that goes against the grain of what Christ consciousness is, with everything that we understand the Christ to be, anything that goes against it represents that Antichrist nature, which one thing would be religion. Religion is probably one of the biggest antichrists on the planet, right? Because it's not so much about looking at people. People are being carriers to this, but the Antichrist energies represent a energy. It's a vibration. It's a state, right? And we align to it. So, like I said, if it's kind of like, everything that Jesus has said in the Bible. Isn't it interesting that so many priests and preachers are telling people to do the opposite? Where Jesus tells every single person that reads the Bible to go within. If your eye be single, your whole body shall fill with light. And what do the preachers and the priests and the pastors often tell you about that? Oh, well, that's just saying that you just need to kind of squint with one eye while you're praying. What? And anything that represents the idea of trying to look into the right hemisphere of the brain, where Jesus would tell his disciples to throw the net on the right side of the boat, right? Where everything is about going center and move into the right room of the mansion, right? Everything here is about going inwards. And everything that the common churches teach you is about trying to confuse you and going outwards. If Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is within you, the preachers are saying the kingdom of heaven is outside. Do you see how that is Antichrist? Because nobody actually listens to Jesus. Do you know who the people are who don't listen to Jesus the most are? Christians. Do you know who the people are who don't listen to Buddha the most? Buddhists. Now you try and figure that out. Okay? This is what I'm talking about, is trying to rely so much on the external world. Because as long as you're doing that, you're confused. I'm sorry to tell you, but as long as you're relying on the external world for your own sanity and sanctity, you are highly confused. And you need to go back inside, because that is exactly what Christ and Buddha has been trying to teach everybody. To go within. To go within. To go within. Not to go out here. Because these are the ripples. This is where it is. It's in here. Like I said, my friends, that's the truth. And the truth is a bitter pill to swallow, but it's the truth. Right? And I know a lot of you pretty much already know this. That's great. But George, like I said, you're a student of mine. And I've told you this quite often about the importance of saying, as long as you struggle with the earth, then you are part of the struggle. When you realize all of these things are happening, yes, but now it's time to get quiet. Now it's time to center. Now it's time to go within and let all of those things go. And now when you walk through the world, you are a beacon of light, of love and compassion and support and helpfulness and wanting to assist people that come to you because they see you in your divine light and they want to come to you and you welcome them in. You look at that situation and that's beautiful. That's the most beautiful thing that you could ever offer anybody, is just the willing to be compassionate and loving and supportive because you're doing the inner work. My friends, that's it. I mean, that's the answer to all of the questions, is to do your inner work, is to be the inner self, is to live as the inner self. And that's what makes the difference in the world. It really does, because you're the beacon of light. That's what Christ did. That's what Buddha did. That's what they're trying to teach everybody, even to this day. Even when their physical bodies aren't here anymore, they're still teaching this. Christians have not realized Christ's message. Buddhists have not realized Buddha's message, because Buddhism isn't even the real term for the fundamental that Gautama Buddha even taught. Do you guys even know what the real name was representing what was now referred to as Buddhism? It's called Brahmayana. It was never called Buddhism. Do you know who named it Buddhism? English folk. The British, primarily. But it was never called that. It's Brahmayana. It's the path of the absolute. Gautama Buddha was a non-dualist. That's his nature. That's what he was. And it wasn't so much about Buddha as it is Tathagata. Right? These are some things that if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to do some deeper research. That beyond the nature of being called Buddha, Gautama Buddha was referred to more so as Tathagata. And that looking beyond Buddhism, it's Brahmayana. So there you go, right? So look into that, about the path of the absolute, about Tathagata. Because that was more of his name than the name Buddha. Right? So, food for thought, my friends. And the Christians and the Buddhists hardly know anything about these great teachers that they would consider to be like their gods, their deities. And they know nothing about this. And that's ignorance. And that's Antichrist. And that's anti-Buddha, you could say. Right? It's the ignorance that is blinding you from the truth. And that's all I'm ever offering all of you, is just the truth. Right? Not bullshit. Okay, let's move on here. I think that's all for the donation-based questions. Yep. Okay, let's go up to the top here. This one here is from Mary. Mary says, "Hi, Brad and Adronis." Hello, Mary. Brad, why are the Vatican hanging on to the Pope? What are they waiting for? I think he's long gone. Okay. Well, let's take a look at the Pope here. One moment. He is pretty much long gone. I don't feel he's actually amongst the living anymore. Either he has body doubles or he has holograms or anything of that nature. They're holding on to him because they can't really afford to elect anybody else. They're still holding on to the agenda that he represents. Okay? So they're holding on to him in that sense as part of an agenda. But no, I don't even think Pope Francis is here anymore. I think he's long gone, and they're basically just utilizing body doubles, and they're utilizing holograms and CGI and so forth. I mean, there's one notorious video of him actually disappearing after a sermon, right? Where he just vanishes like a hologram. Because he's not there anymore. I think he has long since passed away. I don't know if he's been executed or what have you, but he's not here anymore. That's kind of what I'm getting here as well too. Everything that's here, it's false. It's false Pope Francis, right? There is no Pope Francis anymore. He is gone. He has left the earth plane, and all that remains are doubles and CGI and holograms of him. And why are they hanging on for him? Because he represents their agenda. There's an agenda behind him. I think they're still trying to keep the act of him being intact because of who he is and the agenda that he represents. But like I said, the Vatican is just about to die. They're all about to fall apart right now. They're falling apart at the seams. And if they tried to elect anybody else, I feel like it's going to cause a scandal. Another scandal of many scandals on top of that. So it's scandals on top of scandals. It's lies on top of lies. It's cover-ups on top of cover-ups. It's maintaining agendas that need to happen. It's like, again, many of the royal families on the earth right now aren't even there anymore. A lot of them are stand-ins. King Charles, not even really here anymore, right? Now even can look into him as well, too. There was a video, I think just the other day, about Trump getting something from King Charles. And Trump was just praising him to the moon. But let's take a look at King Charles. Yeah, he's not even here anymore. He's a stand-in, right? The real royal family is gone. And I think it's a lot of other royal families as well, too, that are basically gone. Because a lot of them are criminal cartels. A lot of them are basically, again, I have to be careful because we're on YouTube, but they are notorious criminals, right? Let me just put it that way. Because of censorship, I can't go too much into the details, but they were involved with a lot of rings. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you guys can figure that out. They were some of the most notorious, despicable forms of criminal scumbags, you could say, on the face of this planet. And they're not here anymore. So it's mostly stand-ins, it's mostly doubles, it's doppelgangers, it's CGI, it's holograms, it's actors. It's all of it. This is what I keep saying, guys, and I've said this for years, that everything you see outside is a game. It's a show. It's a three-ring circus. None of it's real. It's all fake. It's all just, again, trying to serve agendas, right? The politics are no longer what they once were. Even you look back in the 80s and the 90s, they were still somewhat respectable in some ways. Today, it's a joke. There is no politicians. There's agendas. There's corporations. Every particular politician that basically there represents some type of corporate agenda, some type of greedy scenario, greedy campaign, right? They're all bought and sold, right? They're lobbyists and globalists and Marxists and blah, 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 blah. It's fake. It's all fake. Trump comes in and he's a businessman. He's not a politician. He's a businessman. He wants to work with business. He likes to make deals. That's why he's suited for where he is right now, right? I'm surprised nobody has asked me yet, Brad, what about the tariffs? Right? I'm not sure if there's a question about that yet, because today was supposed to be the day where there is going to be tariffs, okay? And maybe I can even look into the tarot about this as well, too. But let's go into that question. I asked the question myself, so I got to answer it. Okay, so Brad, what about the tariffs that are happening right now? What about the tariffs in Canada and the tariffs in Mexico that the U.S. has put on? What's happening? Okay, let's take a look. Feels like it's not even really going to stick for a long time. It feels like it's going to be very short. It's almost like someone just blowing out a candle and it's done. I don't know if this thing is going to have like it ends as quickly as it begins. It's so short. That's all I can kind of see. I just see someone just blowing out a candle and psh, it's done. Okay. The whole thing about these tariffs, and a lot of people do not know this, but because I've been in an importing and exporting business, I can tell you that if there are tariffs against Canada and Mexico, do you know who's going to pay for the tariffs? The Americans. Okay. Canadians do not pay for tariffs that the Americans enforce, which means if someone buys a particular, let's say, thing from Canada that is tariffed, right? Certain things are getting tariffed, right? So if they bought alcohol or something like that and it gets tariffed, guess who gets the bill? The American taxpayer. Okay, not the Canadian. And this is exactly why there's so much nonsense. And now, of course, Canada's being just as stupid, trying to, we'll retaliate with tariffs ourselves, you idiots. Because all you're going to do is you're going to get Canadians to pay more of your tax dollars with these tariffs. It's stupidity on top of stupidity. Hey, this person's being an idiot. Well, we'll be an even bigger idiot. Right? So tariffs are created by their own country, and again, it's enforced upon their own people. Right? So if there's a 25% tariff, the American taxpayers have to pay that 25% tariff based on that good. And it's the same thing with any other country. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this import-export now for almost 3 years now. And I can tell you that when I've brought in certain products with etherics, and it goes to somewhere like Israel or wherever there's tariffs, and then people are getting mad at me, Brad, what do I have to pay for this extra? So that has to do with your country. Your country is charging you tariffs on certain goods that are coming in, right? And you're stuck with the bill, right? That's not something to do really with the company. That's to do with your government. That's to do with your country's way of business with tariffs. So tariffs are again imposed upon the people of that country. That's how tariffs work. You wouldn't believe how many people don't know how tariffs work. That's okay. Canadians are going to pay 25% tariff. No. You are Mr. American, Miss American. You're paying the tariffs. What? Right? So like I said, if you don't believe me, guys, go look up import-export, and you'll know. Okay? But this is why I feel like that's going to get snuffed out very, very quickly. Right? It's just something that's not going to fly. I don't think it's going to stand around too long. I think it's just going to be gone as quickly as someone just blowing out a candle. Okay, it is not lasting too long. And again, like I said, I don't think it's a very good strategy. I don't know really why they put it in. My feeling is, like I said, it's another agenda. It's an agenda-based operation, to try and snuff out a lot of the swamp dealers here, maybe in the United States and Canada and so forth. But like I said, I don't think it's a very good idea. But it needs to play itself out as it does. But like I said, I do feel it getting snuffed out very quickly here. Okay, let's move on to other people's question here. Another Canadian question here from Marnie. Will Mark Carney be nominated by the Liberals to take over from Trudeau this weekend, and how long before we have the federal election? Okay, I can't really tell you how long that is because I can't really look at dates with the Akasha. But let's take a look at Mark Carney, about what's ahead for him. He's going to be their golden boy. Yeah, the Liberals' golden boy is going to be Mark Carney. It's not going to be Krista Freeland, or whatever her name is, because she's basically ditched them before. So it feels like he's going to be their golden boy. But like I said, he's going to be on the edge of being taken down in many different ways. It's like just the walls are closing in for that particular party, and it's not going to last very, very long, right? So from what I can tell, it feels like there's going to be a takedown within. I think a lot of people are actually in the Liberal Party are actually going to be sick of the idea of him stepping in, but I feel like he's going to be the nominee. I feel like he's going to be the golden boy, right? He's going to have the golden blazer on and all that. And with the federal election, if I'm just kind of looking at the idea, I'm getting the feeling maybe closer to the summer, between the summer and the fall, right? That's the idea. As much as we would like it very closely, there's still so much scandal and so much corruption in Canada that needs to be brought out into the open. We're not finished yet, right? So the approximate feeling is summer, fall. But Mark Carney, it's basically a way of trying to expose the Liberal Party even deeper than it's already been exposed. and you have basically this NDP and Liberal coalition, and they need to be exposed. So there's a lot of battles going on. There's still a lot of battles, and there's still a lot of insistency of disclosure that needs to come throughout the whole corruption of the Canadian government, because the Canadian government is almost as big as a swamp as the American one, right? So there's a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned while they're still in their point of authority. All of that is being cleaned. And then as we get around the summer and the fall, Conservative Party basically gets in, and then there's a bigger cleanup that happens. But it will be around the summer and the fall. We had some opportunities for these elections to happen a lot earlier, and the window was certainly there, but it was not taken, right? And again, it's just because of the corruption inside this. And like I said, guys, please don't waste your time dealing with idiotic politics, because it's nothing. It's empty. It's like looking at a hollow tube and thinking that something good is out of it. There comes nothing good with politics and politicians, right? And I'm not the only one who said that. I've heard so many people over the years, wise people, intelligent people, say, if you are wasting your time with politicians, you're not living life at all, right? Don't deal with that crap, right? Live through your own power within, right? Be the sovereign, right? The sovereign of your own land, the sovereign of your own heart. That's the key. Okay, let's move on. Here's an interesting one. It's kind of a different topic, which I always love to hear. I'm not sure if I can pronounce this person's name. Vedic Klistotny? So I'm just going to call you Vedic if that's okay. Hi, Brad and Adronis. Did dragons live on Earth at the same time as humans? And are dragons a different species than dinosaurs? Why didn't we find their bones? Okay. Well, dragons themselves, again, they are often being seen as much more mythical creatures. Now, it's kind of like looking at the Sasquatch. It's kind of like looking at inner Earth beings in that sense. You have to understand that, yes, dragons do exist, but they reside in different planes. They're interdimensional, okay? They're not really native to this plane, but they are native to other Earth planes. So, yes, there are dragons, and like I said, when you have that much detail going through many different cultures, dragons are a very real phenomenon. But they're not native to this plane. They're not native to our dimension. Dinosaurs were native to our dimension. Okay, dragons, different story. We even have, gigantic Leviathan dragons, you could say, that are within the inner Earth in that way. In fact, it's like the idea of seeing these dragons actually holding together the space that represents the Earth. So there's a lot of mythos and there's a lot of lore pertaining to dragons. I've connected with dragons as well too. I have my own little dream dragon, Imashio, his name is. I even connected with a moss dragon when I was living on Salt Spring. So they are there, but their dimension. It's kind of like looking at the Fae, right? The Fae are, again, not native to this dimension. They have their own dimensions, but they'll slipstream here and there, every now and then. Same thing with dragons. They will slipstream. I've had people in that sense who have actually told me, I've actually seen dragons. I go off into close to the Grand Canyon, and I will see a dragon there momentarily, and then it'll blip away. Or I'll look up in the sky, and I can see a dragon perfectly, and then it just blips away. It just vanishes. Okay? So the reason why you're not finding a lot of dragon bones is one of two reasons. Number one, they are in different dimensions, and you can't track them. Number two, there have been findings, but they're not being revealed. Right? So if a dragon did, for example, die here, and maybe that happened many thousands of years ago, do you think something like the Smithsonian is ever going to tell you that? No. So, I mean, there's even certain types of dinosaurs that are still covered up. There's even dinosaurs that exist that could be about twice the size of a T-Rex, that could actually be much more vicious about it, and may actually have kind of like dragon-like features to it, maybe like a scaly tail or even types of wings in that sense as well too. But they're not going to say it because that would destroy the mythos, right? Everything in this world, as far as humanity goes, is programming. So unfortunately, my friend, no, you're not going to find it through conventional mainstream admittance that dragons exist, okay? Everybody will think, oh, they're fictional and fictional. Well, you can't have that much fiction, that type of fictional claim when you have so much history of what dragons look like, about the different types of dragons there. Even if we look at the Naga species, right? They're serpentine, but they also have dragon-like qualities as well too. Even if we look at the Draco basically have dragon-like or gargoyle-like appearance, right? We can even look at dragon humanoids, right? We can even look at men, women that basically have, you could say, dragonoid appearances as well too. So there's a lot that's under our nose. There's a lot that's hidden in between veils. And dragons are one of them. Yes, like I said, people still think that Sasquatch is a myth when I've had peripheral encounters with them, when my students have had encounters with them. Okay? Like I said, I'll take you right in the middle of a forest of Mount Shasta for a couple of days and you still tell me if Sasquatch doesn't exist. Right? So there's a lot going on that we're not being told. So to answer your question, they are very real, but they're not native to this dimension. But you may find that maybe in some country there may be some bones. Maybe look in South Africa, because I've been in South Africa and I can tell you there's so much secrets there that would just spin your head 3 times backwards. Right? You have fossils of dinosaurs all over the place. You have fossils of old animals, of giants, right? It's insane. You go to South Africa, you'll see it everywhere. You see gold everywhere. It's insane, man. It's one of the most rich places I've ever seen, right? And it's right out in the open. From someone who's been there, blew me away. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. Said, why aren't the locals like showing interest in this? This is crazy. To them, it's just all natural things. I'm like, oh my God, man. I felt like I didn't want to leave South Africa. There's so much to explore. There's so much to experience. There's so much there. I can see why Michael Tellinger loves it so much, right? I'd love to be there. It's wonderful. Okay, let's go to Chiron949. Hi, Brad. What special event will take place on March 22nd, 2025 for XRP? Is XRP going to celebrate my birthday? Because that's my birthday. Okay. Let's take a look at XRP. A flash crash. I don't know about that. Let me take a look at the Akasha about a special event. Again, we can't really say the date. Like I said, the date doesn't work with Akasha. Okay. We kind of look at events. So we're looking around the time of the vernal equinox. Okay, so the vernal equinox happening here March 20th. So around that time, we can say around after that time, is there anything happening with XRP? No, feels more like a publicity stuff and trying to act like maybe they have a big announcement that's going to boost them up in that sense, and maybe it will, but it's not going to boost them up on that day. Okay. So there could be some sort of special announcement. I feel like they're trying to do more integration work, but I think at anything, it would just be an announcement for more integration. XRP, like I said, does have a very bright future, and I feel like they are going to broaden themselves a lot more. But I don't see that on that day there's going to be a flash crash or anything. I don't see anything of that nature, no. Maybe an announcement, maybe something about talking about integration or expanding XRP or whatever it may be. And that's all well and good, but I don't see anything in regards to a flash crash around the vernal equinox with XRP or anything of that nature. Like I said, my friends, it's up and down 2025, okay? They'll have times where they're going up and then they're going down. They're going up and they're going down. The stock market will be the exact same, right? And I think that's what Trump is basically trying to do right now, is deliberately crash the stock market so that there's changes, so that there's overhauls that take place, but then it'll bounce right back up again. 2025 is an up and down year. It is a hill and valley year. You're going to have great lifting up, and you're going to have great falls. You're going to have great lifting up and great falls. I wouldn't call them crashes, but I would call them severe dips and rises. Okay, because as soon as something crashes, it rises up again. So I don't see anything in regards to a flash crash or anything of that nature. Okay. As I've said, 2026 to 2028 would represent those 3 years for crypto boom. Okay, crypto boom 2026 to 2028. Okay, not 2025. 2025 is a seeding year, right? Putting some investments into that and then watching it grow as we get through those next 3 years. So those next 3 years are boom periods for crypto. Okay. Now, having said that, I know people are saying, oh my God, Brad knows a lot about crypto. Nope. Hey, hold your hats for a second, okay? I am not a financial advisor. I am not a crypto advisor. I am not here to tell you about that. I will not accept any private sessions about crypto. Please don't give it to me, okay? So, like I said, I'll talk about it here because I'm talking to the collective and it's fine, right? But like I said, I always give that disclaimer. Please don't think I'm a financial consultant or a crypto guru or anything of that nature. I'm just telling you the forecasts of energies, okay? So please be that. I know Janine is also kind of like that as well too, where she's like, "Oh, please don't do that." Right? It's it's. I'm not a crypto consultant. I'm not a financial consultant. I'm saying the same thing. Okay, and Brianne isn't either. We'll look at forecasts, but like I said, it's just if you're trying to get some specific, legit advice from me about crypto, please don't come to me. Right? I just look at forecasts as they come. All right, let's move on here. Let's see. How are we on time here? We got about 20 minutes. Okay. Okay. So this one here is from Liliana. Liliana says, "Hi Adronis, there was a cloudy dust here in Texas yesterday that lasted all day. Can you provide any insight about it?" Do you guys remember that 2 weeks ago I would say to keep eyes on Texas because there's going to be a lot of phenomena that's happening in Texas, just like it's happened with Florida? Well, these would be one of these forms of phenomena. But I'll get Adronis in, and he'll talk more about this cloudy dust. Okay, let me just kind of take a quick look at the Akasha first. Okay, good. All right, one moment. We thank you very much. Well, understand that the cloudy dust is not actually cloudy dust. This represents the idea of change. This is the idea in that sense of holographic transformation. It may appear as dust, or it may appear as a fog. It may appear as different things. But basically what's happening is that your own grid is actually reasserting itself. It's realigning itself. There are changes being made throughout the very fabrics that represent the holding together of the grid. So when you're looking at this dust, it is not so much extraterrestrial phenomena as it is more of an earthly phenomena. Now again, there may be controllers behind the scenes that are initiating this, but what you are witnessing when you're having these particular types of patterns unfolding, whether it's dust, whether it's clouds, whether it's fog, whether it's anything in that particular nature, quite commonly, these particular events that do take place are representing changing of the grid, shifting taking place. Dimensional rearrangement is another way that we could put it. Certain shifts are happening upon certain coordinated zones upon your planet that represent re-interlacing of time dilation grids. In other words, shifts, large shifts, eventful shifts that are going to be taking place, and Texas is a ground zero for that. A lot of phenomena is going to be happening in your state of Texas. Paranormal activity, dimensional shifting, extraterrestrial connection, governmental unveiling, and exposures. Keep your eyes on Texas over the next little while. A lot of phenomena is going to take place there. All right? We thank you for your question. Thank you, Adronis. That was wonderful. Okay. And that's kind of what I was getting as well, too. I'm getting the feeling that there's some abnormal phenomena happening in Texas. Okay. And like I said, Florida has had its own amounts, but it feels like Texas is, it almost feels like a vortex is opening up there. And there's going to be some very big shifts that are happening in the heart of Texas, but it is actually something that's going to encompass the entire planet, right? There are some dimensional shifts. I have no idea how Adronis put it, but the idea of dilation of time fields or whatever it may be that represents these large shifts. Like I said, he comes through and he shares this, and I have no idea what he's talking about, but I still share it anyways, so there you have it. Okay, so let's take a look here at the next question. This is from Helen. Helen says, "Is Canada going into recession? And what is ahead for the summer months? Okay, is Canada going through a recession? It's kind of like yes and no. Okay, so it's a yes and no answer for both. Yes, because it's helping to drain the swamp. And when the swamp is drained, no, there won't be a recession. Okay? So it's nothing to do with the idea of feeling that you're going to live out many years of recession and depression. This is deliberate. It's like the idea that these are like financial earthquakes, governmental earthquakes, inner political earthquakes that are taking place to shake up the cockroaches that have been living inside these governmental institutions. And they're basically trying to break them up. They're trying to shake them out. They're trying to get them to, again, make really stupid mistakes. And they've been making so many stupid mistakes right now that, like I said, it's a matter of time before they're all rounded up. Okay? And like I said, we're really seeing as an election approaches, that's going to be something that's happening. Very similar to like what Trump is trying to do with, the American government and the DNC and so forth, and just draining the swamp. Pierre Poilievre and the conservatives are basically going to be doing similar things to what Trump is doing in the US. Okay, so as we get closer to about the later end of the year, because unfortunately, guys, 3/4 of the year is just going to be a bunch of intense stuff. It's going to be a lot of ups and downs and people upset and people angry. And like I said, usually people are angry all the time, but there's a big spike that's happening, right? And March is especially like that, right? We could say beware of the Ides of March. So, that's happening in the collective right now. April will have a little bit of that as well, too. It'll go right up until about the time, maybe about September, October, where things start to level out a little bit, right? But as we come into 2026, that is a golden year. That year is precious. That year is beautiful. As I said, my friends, 2025 is a year of endings. It is a year of culmination. We're wrapping up all this crap. But the crap still needs to be shown, right? It's like you're opening up a sewer main and you're looking at all this flowing crap that's coming through, and it's foul, it's despicable, it's gross, but at least it's flowing down the drain. Okay, but it's the most unbelievable, disgusting, putrid smell of crap you've ever smelt, and that's what's happening right now. It's like they're opening up these drains and they're just casting out the sewage. It's revolting, gross sewage. And around late 2025, the sewage will take its course and it'll finally move itself out of that drain, so to speak. Right? But it's nasty. It's nasty, nasty smelling poop. So that's how it is, my friends. Everything has to be drained out. Canada is going to take a little bit longer to drain out than the States. Okay? So there'll still be more drainage for Canada in 2026 as well, too. But at least there's going to be drainage. Right? And it's not a pleasant thing to look at. It's not a pleasant thing to smell. It's not a pleasurable thing for any of the senses to experience. But nonetheless, it's being drained out. We have to get the crap out. And there's so much crap. There's so much, right? But like I said, that's not what's bringing in outer peace. There's no such thing as outer peace. There is no such thing as peace of mind. It's not possible. The only thing that's possible with peace is peace itself. From within, beyond thoughts, beyond Maya, right? Beyond Ahamkara, beyond everything that represents the samsara of life, right? The true heart, the true nature of yourself resides beyond all of that. And that's where I encourage all of you to go. I want you guys to move up to that gradient rather than the lower gradient that you're going into, right? Not to avoid, but to basically help yourself to educate about why these things are happening. Because I'm not teaching you guys to do this to try and run away from this life, because if I did that, I would be a hypocrite. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you go into these states so that you're able to see into why everything's happening the way it is, like what I'm telling you right now, how I'm able to look into these things and how I'm able to look at behind the scenes of why these things are happening. I'm not running from them. I already know these things need to happen. I'm very aware of how much misery it's going to cause. I am very aware of all that crap that's now going downhill. I'm aware of the hills and the valleys that are taking place. I'm very aware of that. And I also know that this has to happen because it's not going to last forever. It's going to be out very, very quickly. And, humanity is still going to prosper in certain ways. But like I said, the greatest prospering is in here. It's subjectively. It's never collectively. When there is a time when there's no money that's needed anymore, and everybody works with contributionism, and you have independent countries that basically aren't trying to go to war with other countries and trying to impose their own despicable will upon others. All of that starts to go away, and now there's the idea that healthcare is free, and you have clothes on your back that's free, you have food that is available to you for free, you don't have to pay for homes anymore, you have free education, you have this and that, you have all of this stuff, because that's the future. That's still not going to make you happy. Still not going to make you happy. It's a nice convenience, but it's still not going to make you happy. Nothing out here is ever going to make you happy. It's impossible. Happiness isn't here. Peace isn't here. It's never out here, because this is the effect plane. I really want you guys just kind of wrap yourselves around that. That's all I'm asking, right? And then you see, and say, that's really what it's all about, isn't it? It's just about going within, and it's about getting quiet, and it's getting calm, and it's getting centered. Yes, 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 yes. That's what it's all about. Live your life through here, absolutely. But don't be a victim of what you see out here, because that's what's going to destroy you. That's what's going to cause you to deteriorate, right? Be in here and live out there. That's the key. You're living out here by being in here, right? That's the formula that the great masters have been trying to teach all of us for centuries, right? Okay, let's move on. Okay, Julie asks, I would like to know when we'll have free energy across the world. It's not free energy, my friends, okay? And this is something else that's a distortion. It is not free energy, okay? It's abundant energy. It's clean energy, right? It's looking at the nature of the electromagnetic, right? It's looking in the nature, we could call it the vacuum or whatever you want to term it. But you need technology for that, right? You need apparatus for that, and that's not going to be free. There is no free energy, okay? But the whole idea is that it's going to be clean energy. It is going to be highly abundant energy, but there are certain things that we'll have to put in place. If every particular home on the planet would want to run off of something like 0-point energy, well, there are, again, certain devices that we have to purchase. There's certain funding that needs to go through that. And like I said, that's not free. There is no such thing as a free energy device, okay? There's a clean energy device. There's a 0-point energy device, right? All of these things that represent clean energy can happen, yes. But you still have to pay for the apparatus. If we have, nearly 8 billion people on the planet, and you are guaranteeing to give 8 billion people free energy, it can't be done. Right? What about all the apparatus that you have to create? All the mechanics that have to come into place? The infrastructure, all of that costs billions of dollars at least, right? So that's what I'm saying is you got to get out of this free energy funk, okay? So let's take a look at the idea of clean energy coming together. We're very close to that, okay? It's really going to start turning into a hydrogen craze. Okay, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to move towards hydrogen. So we're going to see a lot of replacements of solar and tidal and wind and all of that. Those are going to be archaic technologies. What is going to be the latest craze is hydrogen. Okay, and then it's going to lead into something more like magnetism. So it'll go into hydrogen, it'll go into magnetism, and then through the nature of magnetism, it'll start moving into the 0-point. Okay. It is a rung of a ladder. It's rungs of ladders that have to go up. And we have to keep going up every single one of them. Okay, well, here's fossil fuel. Here's electricity, right? Here's solar. Here's tidal. Here's wind, blah, 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 right? Okay, then here's hydrogen. And then here's magnetism. And then through magnetism, there will be 0-point energy. And then with 0-point energy, well, that's all we need. But we have to create a brand new re-infrastructuring of the entire planet, and that is going to cost billions and 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 billions of dollars. You see what I mean? It's not so simple as people make it out to be. You have all of this old infrastructure where every single bit of it needs to be replaced. And I would say that's actually much more of a $1 trillion industry. So even though you're getting something like hydrogen, or you're getting something like electromagnetism, or you're getting something like the 0 point fields, those are wonderful, those are clean, that's abundant energy. But you have to create an infrastructure. And that infrastructure is going to cost trillions. Okay? So this is the whole idea of why they're trying to free up a lot of money, why there's going to be an overhaul of the economy. So it's something can be invested in this, and it's going to happen country by country, not right away. It's going to take quite a few years. Okay, but they're going to get into a hydrogen craze. There's going to be all about hydrogen. Hydrogen is going to be the new electrical, right? So they're basically going to start, I mean, electrical will still play its part. It's dirty, but it's still going to play its part for a few more years, and then it's going to roll out, and then hydrogen is going to replace everything, okay? So the next step is hydrogen, and then it will go into magnetism, and then it'll go into the 0 point, okay? But those are all infrastructures, and they're building infrastructures for that as well too. They're already starting to build hydrogen cars. Like I said, Tesla is already building their Model H with hydrogen as well too. There's going to be a lot of other car companies that are doing that. Then they're going to start making hydrogen available for grids, for homes and all that. Everything is going to be hydrogen. That's kind of a good step in the direction, right? And then it's going to move into something with magnetism, right? Something with magnetics, however that happens. And then 0 point, okay? So again, it's rungs of a ladder. And that's how it's going to happen, okay? But there's no such thing as free energy. And anybody that tells you that, you need to correct them. Say, dude, it's not free energy. Are you just going to basically pop this thing right out of the ether and say, here's the device, you don't have to pay a penny for it? No. It's a resource, right? Resources cost money, just in regards to the way the economy is today, okay? Not free energy, clean energy, abundant energy, right? The vacuum, the 0 point, the infinite field, yes, but still require apparatus. Okay, let's move on. Okay, here's a good question here from Community Organizer. Will the IRS be ended by the end of Trump's term? There's going to be, well, they're going to be drilling really deeply into the IRS, which means they're going to be pulling out a lot of its scandals and a lot of its secrets. And one of those big secrets about the IRS is that it's a Puerto Rican trust. There is no IRS. This is a trust that is created out of Puerto Rico. So why is a Puerto Rican trust being utilized as an internal revenue service in here? So there's just going to be all kinds of revealings with the IRS first. So basically, in that sense, they're going to tear them apart first before they bury them. That's basically it is. So you're basically seeing a dismemberment of the IRS being pulled apart limb by limb and then buried. So they're they're going to be pretty ruthless with the IRS. Absolutely. And especially with Kash Patel, I think that Kash Patel and the FBI are going to have like a field day with the IRS, because I feel like they're going to have some operations going directly into the IRS and just tearing it apart. Like, I mean, literally just dismembering it, ripping it apart, piece by piece. And there will be no more IRS. It will be buried. It will be gone. It will be history. So what I'm feeling here is I feel there's a very good possibility that before the end of the 4-year terms, the IRS will be at least dismembered and then probably buried after that. But yes, it's going to be scrutinized heavily for sure. Because Trump wants to get rid of income tax altogether. He's, like I said, he's a tariff guy, right? So I think that the IRS is going to be completely dismantled before the end of his term. Yes. Okay. How are we on time? Okay, I think we can take one last question here. Okay. David of Shield says, if happiness is within, then why do you charge money for everything? Because there's no problem in charging money for something or not charging money for something, right? I have no problem paying bills. I have no problem paying rent. I have no problem paying groceries. I have no problem paying utility bills or whatever it may be. Because again, this is what I'm talking about, David, and this is actually what I teach a lot of people, is being in harmony with money. Money is not an evil thing. And this is what I've heard ever since I started walking this path, even going back to 2008 and 2009. I would get people angry at me when I brought in Adronis and I started charging for my sessions, because I didn't charge at first. I offered my sessions for free. And when I offered my sessions for free, hardly anybody took it up. I'd say, okay, sure, here, I'll give you a free session. And we'd book a time, and I'd be waiting for the person, and they didn't show up. And this would happen again and again and again and again and again and again. And then I started offering it by donation. And then by donation, I started getting a few more people, but it still didn't feel like it was very, very solidified. And then I started charging for it. And when I started charging for it, people showed up. When I started charging for my sessions, people would actually meet me on time, and we would have great conversations, and we'd have a great session. Adronis would come through, I'd be talking, and we'd do a healing session, everything. And it felt so much better because I charged for it. Okay? So, what I have come to discover is that even though I offer a lot of free things for you guys, it's hardly even noticed by you. Whereas when I actually start to charge for something and I bring it out there, you guys come by the thousands to grab it. This is fact. So, David of Shield, this is why I charge for things. I charge for things because, number one, I'm at peace with money. Number two, I have no problem paying bills when I need to pay bills. I have no problem living in a house. I have no problem paying for the things that I need to, because money is not a hindrance for me. Number three, when I start charging for things, you guys take it seriously. Whereas when I'm offering you guys the free trauma transcendence technique course, when I'm offering you guys the release ball method, when I'm offering you guys the cord removal technique, or any of these other techniques, the BCR technique, hardly any of you go for it. But when I start creating a course and I charge for it, you guys flock to it. So David, that's why. Right? Does it make me happy? No, not really. I couldn't care less whether I have money or not, my friends. Whether I'm in a big house, okay, that's all well and good. Whether I have a truck, okay, that's well and good. It works with me. I'm at peace with it. And then I have had times where I've had not a penny to my name, where I've been practically in the point of homelessness, and I've had people that have welcomed to take me in when I basically had a penny to my name. My happiness has come from the inside, David. It has never come outwards, because there's no such thing as outwardsness. Do you think that if somebody gave me $1 million, that that's going to be the fruit of my happiness? How ridiculous, how absurd, right? If I make that amount with the work that I do, fantastic, that's great, okay? And I will work with more projects, I will help people out, right? All of that. But if I feel like I need to chase the almighty dollar because that's going to make me happy, well, then you're lost. Or if I feel that money is a curse and it's horrible and I need to kick it down the street because it's an evil thing, then you're lost. Which means both of those outcomes represent you being lost. Money is a prop. It is a tool. It is something that you can work with. And like any other tool that you use, this pen here that I'm using to write on this paper, I could be obsessed with how nice this pen is, and if I lost it, I would be so distraught, right? Or I don't need pens. Pens are ridiculous things. I'm just going to put my finger in ink and then I'm going to start writing it that way because I'm so against pens. It's the same thing, right? You're looking at a tool. Money is a tool, right? Pens and paper are a tool. Computer is a tool. House is a tool. Vehicle is a tool. So if I get too obsessed by that, by thinking that that's my whole life and that's my pride and joy, or if I think that that's devious and horrible and having a house is one of the most horrible things that I can ever do, and I should be living in a bush somewhere so that I don't talk to you guys ever again because I won't have a computer and because I'll be against any other particular type of materialism, you guys would never hear from me again if I decide to go live out in a bush. So David, what point are you exactly trying to make here? Because all you're doing is really just showing off your own anger and your own insecurity pertaining to money by looking at it through somebody else. And that is ignorance. Be aware of that. Because this is what I've said to everybody else who has raised such a big stink with me over money for, geez, a decade and a half at least. Soon as I got into this industry, Brad, why are you charging for this stuff? Why are you charging for Adronis? Why are you charging for remote viewing? Why are you charging for Akashic records? Why are you charging for this healing work that you're doing? Brad, all of this stuff should be free. You're right. All this stuff is free. Get it yourself. But they don't. And they come to me because I'm giving you a service. I'm giving you a service of this to work with you with this because you have decided not to do this yourself. Just like when you go to a yoga teacher and you're learning how to do yoga through them. You could go on YouTube and learn everything about that for free. But you don't. You want to have that experience with somebody. You want to look at somebody who's in that field, who's a teacher, who can help you. And you're giving that form of money because they're at peace with money. Right? So that's the whole idea. So David even says, I had $2 million retirement taken away in orchestral events. Well, that's why you're leaking it to everybody else. That's why you're bitter, because you're taking that out on everybody else. So here's what I would say, David. Learn to let it go. I've had big offers myself, big offers, where I could have basically retired and given into sponsorship and make quite a bit of money because I've had offers for people even trying to take over this channel. And say, here you go, Brad, we'll do this sponsorship and we'll pay you well and blah, blah. And I said no, because I want to keep this channel intact. Even this stuff with Radiate as well, too. That can be very, very big and have really multi-million-dollar capability to it. I have not pursued it. I want to keep it organic. I'm not against the money that's coming through, but I'm not looking at it to become multi-million so that I lose all rights and privileges with that particular type of technology. Rather than thinking that you need to take out your own inadequacies pertaining to money situations, whether extravagant or not, is not the answer, David. Deal with your own pain. Learn to look at what has happened, accept what has happened, and learn to let it go. Learn to release it. Lord knows I've had plenty of deals where things could have been very, very lucrative. But I didn't want that. Even though I'm at peace with money, it would have taken away my rights to do this. It would have taken away my ability to make these particular type of technologies, to give it to you guys. So there you have it. Because you suffer in a state of wondering about why this happened to you relating to extravagant amounts of money, and you take it out on everybody, that's only showing me the pain that you have. And you have the ability to heal it because I'm giving you a free thing that can do it. Trauma transcendence technique, right? It can do it. And that's free, by the way, right? It is not always about money. And if the world is all about money to you, you're lost. And you have bitterness because you lost the ability for something extravagant to happen to you, then you're lost and you're confused. And you need to work with that difficulty because you're putting out on everybody else pertaining to the insecurity that you have with money. And like I said, I've been doing battles with people like that for years. And it's just silly. And it doesn't need to be there. So I'm at peace with money, David. Maybe it's time that you be, right? Look into it. You have lots of help. You have lots of assistance. You have a lot of support here. Make it happen. End your pain. End your suffering with it. It's not worth it doing what you're doing. Right? Okay. Thanks, everybody. We're out of time for today. And boy, did I need to let that off my chest because, like I said, that has been something that's been with me for years. And it's not just me. It's people who have been very close to me. I've had friends who have also been doing this work, and they will be crying at times and saying, Brad, I don't understand why people are yelling at me and screaming at me. I mean, this is something that I want to do for a living. And I just get so many people mad at me saying, oh, you shouldn't be charging because you're doing tarot, or you shouldn't be charging because you're doing healing work, or you shouldn't be charging because of this. And I said, well, And I said, you have to learn to let that go, because those are people's inadequacies that are throwing at you in that sense. And really what it is it's a feeling of desperation from them. They're so desperate and they want everything for free. And you're not giving it to them, and that's why they're angry. And even if it was free, they still wouldn't take it anyways. People just want to bitch for the sake of bitching. So I've had to help friends as well too, who are distraught and angry about how people have treated. And they think that as soon as you start doing this work, as soon as you get into the tarot, as soon as you start getting into healing, as soon as you start getting into this type of teaching, you need to do it for free. And basically I would say, let those type of people go, because they are only suffering from their own means of what they believe the life should be. Like I said, that's them trying to assert their power upon everybody. That's how the world needs to go around for them. If you have this particular type of industry, you better do it for free or else, right? This has gone on for years, so many years. And I haven't even heard it as recently, but like I said, it's been happening for a very, very long time. And I will always stand with those people who have been hurt and who have been bullied by people just getting so angry at them because they are putting so much of their energy in to help you. And you think that you can just step all over them and think that you can just get a bunch of freebies while they put their heart and soul in doing this work that means so much to them. Grow up is what I would say to them, because they have a lot of work to do in themselves. And that's just insecurity to the greatest degree. And they need to grow up. They need to mature themselves. They need to work on themselves, because that's just ignorance to the nth degree. Anyways, had that for a long, long time. Needed to get that out. Whew. Right? All right, everybody, we're out of time for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please support people who are doing great work to help you. These people don't have to do this work, but they're doing it because they're showing their compassion, and they want to live in the world, and they want to pay their bills, and they want to put a roof over their head, and they have families. This is no more different than you working at a Starbucks. This is no more different than you working as an engineer. This is no more different than you working as a politician, whatever it may be. It's all the nature of exchange. And money represents that. Please support people who are willing to help you, right? Help them out as well too. That's reciprocation. That's reciprocity. And that's a natural law. Be aware of that. Take care, everybody. Blessings to you all. Namaskar. And may it be well with you. Take care.